Good evening. Please join us as we pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Howard Holly, publisher of Evolve magazine. I am honored to be your moderator for both nights of this Flagler Candidate Forum. I'm also honored to be one of the founding members of the Flagler Tiger Bay Club, our host for tonight and tomorrow night. Flagler Tiger Bay is a nonpartisan, non-political club that does not endorse candidates or take sides on issues. Members of all political views are welcome and encouraged to listen and understand different perspectives on important issues in a civilized environment. To learn more, go to flaglertigerbayclub.com. So let me introduce the panelists who will be asking questions of the candidates. All of the panelists are members of the board of directors of the Flagler Tiger Bay Club. Gail Wadsworth is president of the Flagler Republican Club and former Flagler Clerk of the Courts. Also, Gary Walsh is an attorney and the Flagler Tiger Bay Club Board Secretary. Walker Douglas is chair of the Flagler Tiger Bay Club Executive Committee. Young Executive Committee, my bad. And vice president of Douglas Properties. And Teldra Jones is first vice president of the Flagler Democratic Club and senior supply chain manager at Waptec Corp. As part of our process, each candidate will have an opportunity to give a 1-minute introduction, followed by questions from the panelists. After the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute to make a closing statement. A big thank you to our Flagler Tiger Bay members who sponsored this forum. Without their support, it doesn't happen. Chimento Dwyer Hurtle Grant, Douglas Property and Development, Innovative Financial Solutions, SE Client, and Waste Pro. So before we begin, I want to make a statement. This is not a debate. Candidates cannot ask questions of each other or direct comments to their opponents. The purpose of this forum is to help our neighbors, our friends, our fellow Flagler voters to make an informed choice before they cast their vote. Thank you to the candidates for participating. So let's get started with the introductions of the candidates for County Commissioner District 1, and we will begin with candidate Dance.
Good evening. Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Tiger Bay Club and WNZF for hosting this opportunity for all the candidates to get together. My name is Andy Dance. I'm the candidate for Flagler County Commission District 1. It's been my honor to serve on the Flagler County School Board, but this is a whole new animal, and I am eager to state my case to be a Flagler County Commissioner. I've got a history of investment in Flagler County. 40 years family history here in Flagler. I'm a business owner, parent of 3 Flagler Palm Coast grads, 12 years as a school board member and with the Early Learning Coalition of Flagler and Volusia, and 2 years as the chairman of the Community Traffic Safety Team. I'm eager to use my experience, relationships, and my plan of action to improve our business climate, protect our natural environment, grow smart, and provide a safe and secure community for every citizen of Flagler County.
Thank you, candidate Dance. Next is candidate Hermle.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Corinne Hermle. Again, thank you to the Tiger Bay Club and thank you to the county for allowing us to have the event here. I am an environmental consultant with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Office of Agricultural Water Policy. I am currently the department's liaison to the St. Johns River Water Management District, and I have over almost 15 years of state government experience at various levels of state government. And I am running for office because I believe that the citizens and voters of Flagler County deserve to have a choice, that they deserve the option to have a board with a variety of viewpoints and voices voices that will talk about growth management in the county, that will talk about how your tax dollars are being spent, that will talk about moving to long-range planning instead of more knee-jerk decisions. A voice that will talk about the community we want to have 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, and a voice that will push to preserve our natural resources before they are gone. And I strongly encourage everybody to please register to vote and to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's begin with the first question.
Okay, Candidate Dance, thank you for being here. First question, in your opinion, what are the two most pressing issues confronting the county in your district over the next few years, and what would you do to solve them?
Thank you for the question. Usually everybody asks for three most pressing, so to two is a little bit easier. I can narrow that down into economic development and growth. The third was security and safety, but we'll leave that one off for the sheriff later on and Mr. Jones. Economic development, we have a lot of opportunity. We have disbanded what was our economic development department, but there's a lot of opportunities. We have emerging emerging private partnerships with a new Chamber of Commerce, a regional Chamber of Commerce, and even Mr. Holly's own endeavors with Evolve Magazine. And with the opportunity now to focus on the Mednex in Town Center, but to also focus on our small businesses, I believe we can spend minimal resources and gain a huge investment on just growing our own business, what they call economic gardening, to grow our own small businesses, to grow wages, to grow their markets, and to increase the tax base for Flagler County. The other one is smart growth. As a landscape architect, I'm an environmentalist by nature. I think Flagler County is a gem and is so unique in our natural resources, and we need to do everything that we can to protect those as we continue to grow. 300,000 people a year are moving to Florida, and Flagler's going to get their share, so we need to grow smart.
Candidate Hermle, thank you for being here. What, in your opinion, are the two biggest issues that the county is facing, and what are your plans for handling them?
So I have a lot of similarities with Andy. Of course, the two biggest issues that are coming up are growth, definitely growth. And related to growth, most importantly, is not just an increase in housing and all that, but it'll provide further strains on our local natural systems. And what I mean by that is right now, Flagler County and this region of the state is already seeing an increase in impaired waters, which means there are excess nutrients going into our local waters. And at the same time, we were also seeing the water quality of our public supply wells beginning to decline as they become more brackish, aka they're becoming more saline. And so as we continue to add people to this county, as we continue to build houses and all that, these are problems that are going to hit us years from now. We're either going to have to work on major infrastructure improvements to deal with the declining water quality of our surface water bodies, and or projects to deal with the issues we're having with our local aquifer, because people need water to drink to live here, honestly. And the other issue that we have for the county, especially now that the state is facing the economic situation that it is right now, is we are going to have to work on building up our economy and not just fixating on trying to find the big fish, the big employer to come, but I think instead we should try our best to build up small businesses, to encourage talent to come here, to try and, if we can somehow, to encourage folks that Flagler County has the ability to be a maker space, that we could get artisans and other small inventors and other small businesses here, and that we could give them the tools to help them to branch out, because most small businesses, that's what they need. They need that initial jump start to get them going, which will allow them to hire more people, which will be more employed folks into the county, and that will improve the situation for the county.
Candidate Dance, just so you know, I only asked two pressing questions, so you didn't have, you had enough time to answer, that's why. As an ex-school board member, how would you confront the potentially significant rise in school costs resulting from the COVID-19 situation and the rise in residential development for an influx of new students? How can the county help? Please address operational and capital costs.
Okay, so let me just straighten out the question first before It sounds more like a question geared toward a school board candidate than a county commission, but I'm happy to answer.
It was intended to see how the county could assist schools, in these trying times.
Okay, so repeat the question for me, please.
Okay, how would you, as a county commissioner, and what would you do in terms of, such things as impact fees on development, such things as, assistance to the COVID-19 situation with operational and capital costs of schools? Are there things that you can do as a county commissioner?
Well, we don't want to cross lines. There are specific lanes that the school district has authority over and specific lanes that the county has authority over. Most of what you mentioned are specific lanes for the school district. Impact fees and specific costs related to COVID within the schools. I know CARES funds are helping them with additional teacher needs and also the cleaning supplies. So right now, they're more worried about reductions in general revenue coming from the state. Since the state is losing revenue, the fear is that that's gonna be passed down and additional cuts are gonna be needed at the school district. I think there's a good history of interlocal cooperation with the school district, between the county and the school district. I think it's a benefit to have a former school board member on the county commission to help facilitate that conversation and add some expertise to those discussions. There will be a lot of growth issues that will have to be worked out, but school capacity is currently there. We have additional capacity for students. I think the problem is where the students are going, and then you run into areas where specific schools are overcrowded. But I'm happy to be able to be that voice that can help merge the school district issues with the county issues.
Candidate Hermle, bed tax collections were down year to year 29% in the month of April as a result of coronavirus-related precautions. What measures will you take to either make up those lost revenues or trim expenses?
Realistically, in order to get people to feel comfortable to want to stay someplace else, realistically, we're probably going to need a vaccine for the virus, and people need to feel comfortable to travel. And that's not going to happen when you keep having increasing caseloads, unfortunately. It's just people won't travel. If they're afraid to do something, they're not going to do something. So then you're left with the flip side of the coin. You're going to have to cut costs. And anytime you're faced with budget reductions, you have to ideally, and what I've seen as a state government employee, the most neutral ideal way to do it is take a look at overall and then ask each department, give me a list of a percentage cut. Let's say 5%, 10%. If you hit the point that your tax revenue coming in is so depleted that just trying to cut off, what can we postpone? What can we postpone for capital investment? Can we possibly postpone pay raises? And you start getting more into the nitty gritty, then you're gonna start having to focus on, okay, are we gonna have to look at furloughing staff? Because ideally, in my opinion, the last thing you wanna do is look at cutting government services, because in an emergency or a recession situation, people heavily depend upon those resources. They need those government services. And of course, your incredibly last step that you have to do is, of course, layoffs. But ideally, there would be an entire grocery list of everything you can consider, investments and everything else that you would cut first before you ever hit the point that you ever have to lay off any staff members.
Candidate Dance, this goes back a little bit to some economic growth issues. Property values, continue to lag here, even relative to some of our surrounding jurisdictions. What specific plans would you have to help increase tourism, which is one of our basic economic drivers, over the next few years to solve this problem?
Great, thank you for the question. That's an important question. Tourism is a very important economic driver for Flagler County. I've detailed 3 different areas beyond just general tourism for our beaches and bringing people in for that, but we have agritourism, we have educational tourism. Those are just a couple of areas I think that we can expand our opportunities to bring people into Flagler County. We've got amazing locations within Flagler to facilitate this. The Flagler Agricultural Museum has an opportunity to expand. They have a proposal to add the Kings Road Historic District, which is property on the west side of US 1, and it could make in the northern part of the county, we could have a nexus of historical educational opportunities available for Florida and expand on the Ag Museum's promise. Agritourism is also a growing area. We have farms and ranches that are on the west side of the county that are just getting started and getting their feet wet on some of this. So I think with some guidance and the county being able to bring in some expertise in those areas from around the state, we could see that area grow as well. So I think we're doing a good job on general tourism, especially with the beach as a draw. We just need to highlight some of our other areas and focus on educational and agritourism. Ecotourism too. I mean, I think ecotourism lends naturally to our natural resources.
Thank you, Candidate Dance. Candidate Hermle, the number of Flagler County residents who are over 65 is almost twice the national average. How will you attract young workers and families to Flagler County and retain those who have grown up here?
I turn it on. I think really what people are coming for is they want to have a sense of community here. And for that, that is getting the messaging out of what can Flagler County offer to their family. I think it can offer good schools. I think it can offer natural resources that they can go out with their families and play and everything. But that really is a lot of messaging. And that messaging, I believe, is going to require a very strong coordinated effort for every governmental agency in this county. Cities, everybody. We're all going to have to coordinate together to message, to make our dollars stretch that much farther, of what we can offer. But also, it comes down to, again, what can we offer those families, not just for schools, but what can we offer them for jobs? And it feeds back into, can we give them opportunities to start their own business here? We have high-speed internet in Palm Coast. Yet when I talk to many people outside this county, they are not aware at all that there is high-fiber internet in this area available. There are various opportunities that we could be pushing for, like I said, become an incubation space, get those smaller businesses here, which will then attract families, which will then attract companies. And hopefully we can build off of that and make a community that everybody can take part in, that everybody can get what they desire and what they wish.
Thank you. That concludes our questions. You now each have 1 minute. We will begin with you, Candidate Hermle, and then we'll go to Candidate Dance.
Again, thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. I just really appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you and to get your questions and to speak to the citizens and voters of Flagler County. I wanted to run because I wanted to give the voters a choice. That I just saw decisions that were made yesterday, decisions that were being made today are impacting this county now and will impact this county for years and decades to come. And I was concerned that there wasn't a full understanding of what we were potentially walking in towards. And so I'm a mother. I have 2 small children. I'm a native Floridian. I have seen so many beautiful parts of Florida, and I've seen so much of Florida turn to development. And I just wanted to give my children an opportunity to kind of have that same experience I had growing up. And I think they can have that here in Flagler County. I think Flagler County has the potential to be so much for so many people. And I would just love the opportunity to help everybody on that journey. And again, I encourage everybody, register to vote, and please vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Dance.
Thank you. In closing, just want to thank everybody again for this opportunity to speak with the public. In November, I'll be vacating my school board seat, and it's been an honor and a privilege to serve Flagler County in that capacity, especially leaving Flagler County as a rising A district with so many marvelous accomplishments in the past few years. I'm a candidate for county commission to make an impact. Having said my family's been invested here in Flagler County, I want to continue that investment, making an impact in smart growth, making an impact in job growth, high wages, working to capitalize on the work that's been done, but also take advantage of some missed opportunities. Flagler County is a natural gem in Florida. We have a huge assortment of natural resources that are unparalleled, and this is my commitment to make Flagler County the best place for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of the Flagler residents and voters, we want to thank you for your participation today. Best of luck to both of you. We're going to cut away for a minute as we transition to the sheriff candidates. Don't leave. We'll be right back. Oh, that's right. That's too soon. I'm sorry. We've got District 3 we need to do. So we're going to start with introductions in District 3. And we're going to begin. Oh, District 5. Yeah. And we're going to begin. I got discombobulated is what happened. And we're going to and we're going to begin with candidate Anderson.
Good evening. My name is Paul Anderson, and I'm running for County Commission District 5. Before I start, I would like to make place an opinion, one that none of us were permitted to say at the County Commission meeting in this chamber on Monday. The statements that were made concerning Greg Hansen in this chamber, I believe, were reprehensible. And I hope we never see something like that again. I intend to return Flagler County to a sound financial position. I want to help raise our state debt management grade from a D to a B within the next 4 years. I intend to help reduce the tax burden of all Flagler County residents, not by selling county assets for less than they are worth, or add unnecessary debt by purchasing assets that we cannot afford. I think we can accomplish these things without the influence of outside builders and real estate developers. I foresee a future in Flagler County where the residents have a voice and they do have standing. I believe these ideals can return to the Flagler County Commission, and I would like to help get us there and look forward to earning your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Calderwood.
Hi, my name's Denise Calderwood. I'm a lifelong resident of Flagler County. I moved here. I'm proud to say I'm a Palm Coast generation, first generation. I'm concerned about Flagler County as well, and I've been at the meetings, the last couple of meetings, and the decorum in here, I agree, has gotten to the point where something needs to change, and that's why I'm running again. I'm a lifelong candidate for office. I stress that I believe Abraham Lincoln, you can have so many failed attempts, but keep trying. Eventually, things will get better. I believe in open and transparent management with an emphasis on collaboration. I'm a trained grant writer. The projects that have been mentioned, I've worked on all of them throughout my period of time as a volunteer for Flagler County. I'm proud to say I helped with Bing's Landing. I'm proud to say I helped with the Agricultural Museum, the African American Cultural Society, the Flagler Teen Center. I started the Flagler Explorers Program, the Sheriff's Department. So my name is everywhere in Flagler County, just not as a county commissioner, and I would love for the citizens to actually take me seriously, and we can hold people accountable. We need to hold our elected officials accountable.
Thank you. Candidate O'Brien.
Thank you to the Tiger Bay Club for organizing this event this evening. It's been my honor to serve as one of your county commissioners over the last 4 years. And while I'm proud of the progress that we've made over the last 4 years, there's more work to be done. Upon taking office, we were faced with the immediate priority of recovering and rebuilding after 2 devastating hurricanes in 11 months. That resulted in the pressure to raise property tax rates. I resisted that pressure and have, during my 4 years on the commission, never voted for a property tax rate increase. I also realized that we had a county administration that was entrenched, not adaptable to change, and didn't have the skill set that could lead this county into the future and the growth challenges that we face. I support a leadership change, and it got done. We face many challenges as we move from a rural to a more urban county, and the work continues. And I look forward to spending some time this evening highlighting or answering your questions, and appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone to please pay heed to our timekeeper in front here. Let's begin with our questions.
Candidate Anderson, similar to what was asked before, in your opinion, what are the two most pressing issues confronting the county and your district over the next few years? And what are your proposed solutions?
For the district, district-wide, I think it's more county-wide than district-wide. In the county, it's really financial stability and debt. In my opening, I said that we are, for debt management from the state, we received a D. That's, anybody that knows what that does to our bond rating or what it could do to our bond rating, we are already at a single A in our bond rating. So having a grade of D does not help us whatsoever. Like I said, I hope to help us get to AB within 4 years. And I think that's attainable. As when it comes to debt, not sure if everybody knows, but the sale of the SOC for an 84% loss, and those proceeds from that sale, and the Sears building, where we took about $275,000 loss, that went to our reserves, our cash reserves. And the reason why they went to our cash reserves is because we had to protect our bond rating, because if we don't protect our bond rating, we can't get into more long-term debt when we go to whatever the number is for the Sheriff's Operations Center, whatever that turns out to be. We are going to be in long-term debt until 2060 because of the Sheriff's Operations Center, the new Sheriff's Operations Center.
Thank you.
Candidate Calderwood, as a former school resource officer, do you think this position is necessary? If so, why? And what do you think the county should be doing to ensure our students are safer at school?
It's definitely necessary. I believe that the Sheriff's Department is doing an excellent job with the School Resource Officer Program and the school system. And when I was a deputy, there was problems communicating between the two, but I think that's gotten worked out, and it's a very smooth system. Thank God we're still safe. When I was a school resource officer, the kids were allowed to have guns in their cars. Andy, you remember that, and that's changed completely. So they're doing an excellent job. What I think should change is, I think a little bit more officer-friendly, which I was at the time, and some people still call me Deputy Denise when they see me, 25 years later. It makes me feel young again. But it's an important position. But when I was a trained school resource officer, you never thought you'd have to take down a school. But now we have to, and we have to inform and educate the kids, and we have to give the kids more responsibility because they are grown. They're grown because of the internet, and they need to be treated as such. And so I believe in youth empowerment, letting the kids lead the school, and facilitate, and have teachers facilitate and not dictate. And same thing with law enforcement. Be facilitators and advocates.
Thank you.
Candidate O'Brien. That sounds really funny to me, Donnie. In your responses to Flagler Live, you stated COVID impacts have caused the utilization of our county's reserves. You also said building toward fiscal soundness and having proper reserves is another important issue. And the commission needs to provide leadership and focus on this issue. And I enjoyed this, while it is not sexy, but is controversial and doesn't make headlines. Having reserves for future things is critical. Okay, so besides being something our external auditors as well as the Auditor General, look for during our audits. What else should be so important to the public? Why are reserves important to our public?
Well, one important thing is, every year the county, for a long time in the past, did not have enough cash at the end of the fiscal year to be able to pay its regular expenses until the new tax collection started to come in. Well, this year, for the first time, we're not going to have to borrow short-term to fund that gap period. So, I mean, it's not a ton of money. I believe we're going to save about $80,000 in interest costs by not having to do short-term borrowing. And what that also does is it also tells bond rating analysts and it tells people that want to borrow to us that we have fiscal discipline. And so, that would be one of the important reasons that we want to be able to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Anderson, you're running as an independent. Please provide the listeners with why you believe you can be more effective in governing the county than your opponents from that position, what benefits you believe you bring to the table as an independent, and try to be specific in regard to some proposals and programs.
Okay. Let me correct a misnomer. I'm running as a nonpartisan candidate. That's totally different from independent. I'm a registered Republican. I have been a registered Republican since I was able to vote. Be that as it may, the fact that I am a Republican doesn't make a difference about how I think that we should be governed as a county. We should be using common sense. We should be doing what is right by the residents of Flagler County. We should not be catering to outside developers and outside real estate interests. I've been here for 18 years. My family has been here for 30 years. And I've seen a steady increase of our political class in this county cater to people that don't even live here. And I think that needs to change. I witnessed on Monday a situation where the residents of Flagler County did not receive standing about a development that was going on right in their backyard. I think that's a travesty. I think our residents have a voice. They need to have a voice. And we, as elected officials up here, need to have the ears to listen to our residents.
Thank you.
Candidate Calderwood. At one point, Town Center was to be the epicenter for business, art, and community. What is your vision for development in the county? What would you advocate for to positively affect community development in your district?
In the county, Town Center is actually the center of Flagler County. It is literally the epicenter. It should not be the Palm Coast pride and joy. It should be all of Flagler County's pride and joy. I'm a full supporter of that. Is it 25 or 30 years ago, I was on an advisory panel, Gail, when we talked about bringing the NFL here. We would have had retired NFL executives and people here. And our leadership at the time struggled with that because Palm Coast was an emerging community. I'm excited to see Douglas Properties and Development. I'm excited to see the art district that was recently announced. It's not the mayor's vision. It's been in the plan for a long time, as well as having a YMCA, a joint health facility. That's been in the plan. A youth center, an active senior center, separate buildings. The teen center was supposed to be there along with the tennis complex that is there. All of that stuff was projected. ITT did a beautiful job outlining that. We did the CRA that the county, the county has and the city has, and the corridor redevelopment is a beautiful plan. The problem is we are not following it. What it is we are coming to the whims of the people who come in, who throw us money, the developers, and say, hey, I'm going to do this. And it gets done without consideration of all the plans that we have. Flagler County historically has beautiful plans. I've personally benefited from them since I am a successful grant writer. I wrote the grants for the Palm Coast Arts Foundation as well as the Flagler Playhouse and started the youth programming at the auditorium. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner O'Brien, in the board's meeting this past Monday night, there was a motion to censure a commissioner for his actions towards two others. While you did not choose to censure, what will you do to bring back respect and unity to the board?
I believe we're on the path to do that now. That was, a tough meeting, a tough situation. I expressed very clearly my thoughts about decorum and about how we should treat each other, and that we're role models for how local government should work. And we haven't been acting like some of us have not been acting as good role models. So. Again, I think we're on the right path. And I just want to clarify, I was very specific in my comments, but I specifically did not vote for a resolution of censure because I felt that it was a document that had no weight of law and no penal effect whatsoever. But I felt that my words and my comments were just as strong as as a resolution would have been, and got the job done in terms of communicating how I felt.
Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson, on the economic front, at the town center, there's been created an opportunity zone under federal law, which permits certain financing benefits that can be done. However, there are some time limits on that. What would your proposal be to expedite the development there? And do you view the present county staff as capable of accomplishing this?
Town center is a city property, correct? So the county, with the exception of the limited number of properties, I haven't checked lately. I know we just sold a piece of property in town center just recently, the county did. I'm not actually sure how many pieces of property we own in town center, so unfortunately, I couldn't give an accurate description of what we can do as a county to assist. I know that when we were having issues with, we were having a mini water war with Wawa, when they were moving in, I think the best thing that the county can do is to be a better partner, as well as the city be a better partner together when we have issues, when we're on we have seen for years now, when we have a situation where we have a county, when we have a business that's on the county and on the city, on the edge, we have to go through this absolute ridiculous fight between the city and the county in order to figure out, as usual, who's going to and how are we going to provide water for that individual business. I think that the city and the county, in order to make business more friendly, is to make it easier for businesses to come here without having all of this infighting between the city and the county when it comes to allowing them to build their business or develop their business within our community.
Thank you.
Candidate Calderwood, do you have ideas on handling our homeless population? Particularly, how do we better assist our homeless students?
Students in the Flagler County school system, which numbers about 624 currently, which is still astronomical, is only going to get bigger. So we do not have the capacity in Flagler County to do so. The affordable housing developers that are here, again, thank you, Mr. Douglas, for coming to Flagler County. The rates that you have are not affordable. The average Social Security check is $774. The disability check is $774. Those apartment complexes that are here, the average rate is $1,200 a month, and then you have to have $3,000 cost to move in. So those families are still remaining homeless. I just evolved, I purchased 10 acres of land, and we are going to be announcing in October for National Make a Difference Day how we are going to be providing affordable housing for families in Flagler County, hopefully, as long as the city and the county work together to actually allow us to develop it. Because we did have $750,000 available for us for 3 years, and we were unable to get the county or the city to listen to us to actually help us. The plan that we came together was actually the plan that we actually purchased. So we followed through with our commitment. The county and the city did not, and the elected officials who are sitting in those seats now did not. That's why I'm running again. We did choose that location. We have grants out there. We're pending. We're still looking for collaborations and partners, and we are going to do it. And we've bought successfully campers and put people in those campers right now because that's what they can afford.
Thank you.
Candidate O'Brien, last November, you nominated our current chair, David Sullivan, and you also nominated our vice chair, Joe Mullins. If this were that very day, would you do so again?
Those two same folks, the same positions? I would certainly nominate Commissioner Sullivan to be the chair. There's been an unwritten agreement in Flagler County for many years that there's a rotation on the chair's position. It was in response to years ago, there was one chairman, Chairman Darby, that was the chair of the county commission for many, many years. Having said that, the chair's job is mostly ceremonial. They do control they don't control the agenda, they don't write the agenda, they control the flow of the meeting. They get extra invitations to public events and things like that because a lot of organizations think that they want to invite, if they want to invite a county commission representative, they invite the chair. But the fact is, 5 county commissioners all have an equal vote, all have an equal say, and so the chair's job, while it's important, is not it's not any different than serving as a county commissioner, other than maybe signing documents and again running the meetings.
Thank you. So that concludes our questions. We're now going to go into closing statements. We'll change the order a bit. So we will begin with Candidate O'Brien, and then Candidate Anderson, and then close with Candidate Calderwood. You each have 1 minute for your closing statements.
Well, thank you again to the Tiger Bay Club and all of you here this evening for this opportunity to talk and share our views and opinions. I'm going to leave you with this. I'm all in for Flagler County. I've lived here for more than 30 years. I've raised my children here. I'm a business owner. My grandchildren are being raised here. My beautiful granddaughters are what I call Palm Coast 4.0. That's pretty amazing that we're to that generation. And I want them to stay and grow up here and hopefully be educated and be able to raise their families here someday. And I will bring every single day the energy, the drive, and the determination so that we can work hard together to make Flagler County the best place it could be. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Anderson.
Thank you for having me, and the rest of us, actually. I'm only going to close with this. I'm going to do a shameless plug. My Facebook page is Paul Anderson for CC, and if you go there, you will get much more about my ideas, about what I feel about Flagler County as a whole. You'll find out about me and how long we've been here that we cannot get into with about 4 minutes of talking. So I appreciate having the opportunity to speak. Thank you very much for having us. And get out and vote.
Thank you. I just want to check. This is now the time for the transition?
No?
Okay. Candidate Calderwood.
See how easily I'm forgotten? I love
wouldn't
Flagler
forget
County.
you.
I want to thank the citizens in the community and everybody who's actually invested in me. I was the little girl who said Palm Coast was a great place to come on the video when I was 8. And I'm proud of the city and where it's come, and I'm proud of the county most of the time. But when the leadership that's existing now does the behavior that they do, I'm appalled, and I'm appalled enough to actually try to hold them accountable as an individual citizen and say, we need to have accountability. We need to open up and show Flagler County our true assets that we have. My phone number is all over the place. I don't do Facebook. I try, and I have mistakes all the time. I'm not technically oriented. My phone number is 386-225-3053, and you can feel free to call me 24 hours a day, because the homeless, the disenfranchised, people who are considering killing themselves do that all the time. Tonight, we have a walk going across the Flagler Beach Bridge. This weekend, we're having an empty shoe memorial to let everybody know that 107 people in Flagler County killed themselves in the past 2 years. And we are afraid that that's going to continue, and we need to do active steps to make sure we have the resources here for everybody to be able to access so that we do not continue to have empty shoes. And thank you.
I'd like to thank all of the county commissioner candidates. I appreciate your being here, and I'm sure that our voters appreciate as well. I really do believe that this time is a time for us to break away for 1 minute as we transition. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are now going to transition to the sheriff candidates, and we're going to begin with introductions, and in the order as they are on the ballot, alphabetical. We will begin with candidate Jones, who will have 1 minute.
Good afternoon, Flagler County.
Cut your mic.
It's on? Yes. Good afternoon, Flagler County. My name is Larry Jones. I'm a lone life resident of Flagler County. I was born in St. Augustine and been in Flagler County for 60 years. I served on the sheriff office for 30 years. My kids, I raised my kids here. They went to school and moved off. I have grandkids, and I love Flagler County. And I'm a Democrat. This race is firm. I stand firm on the issues that stands in Flagler County today. I think we need to invest in our youth today because we are losing the youth. So we have to invest in them to keep them here in Flagler County so they can make a difference for us. So my pledge is to make a better Flagler County, we have to keep the kids here in Flagler County instead of putting them in jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Staly.
I'm your sheriff, Rick Staly. When you elected me in 2016, I promised to reduce crime. Crime is down 47% since I took office, the lowest crime rate since 1995. And traffic fatalities were down 67% through the end of 2019. I promised to restore integrity and pride. The pride is back in the sheriff's office and the community. In fact, the News Journal recognized us as one of the 10 best places to work in Volusia, Flagler County. I implemented district and guardianship community policing, bringing our deputies and community together, working together to keep our neighborhoods and businesses safe. I am endorsed by the first responders that serve you, deputies, officers, and firefighters, and they want you to keep me as their sheriff. My work is not done, and that is why I'm asking you to keep me, Rick Staly, your sheriff.
Thank you. We will begin with questions. I think you're going to need to repeat that.
I apologize, the mic was muted. Check, make sure the red light's on.
It's good now. Candidate Staly, what steps have you taken as a resident and in your position to positively affect race relations in our community?
So I think we've done a lot. We can always improve that. You saw that when we had the marches here in Flagler County for protesting the murder of George Floyd, they were peaceful. My deputies and I were out there in the community with the marchers. We handed out water. We made sure that they could cross the streets safely. I have a very active relationship with Bethune-Cookman University, where we have interns. We offer jobs to those interns. We pay for them to go through the academy. I have also promoted the highest ranking African-American female in the history of the Flagler County Detention Facility, and I've promoted the highest ranking law enforcement African-American male, a commander, for the first time in decades in this agency. We're not done. There's still a lot more that can be done. I've attended and spoke at the NAACP, and so I think we're on the right track, but we're making up for many, many years of lack of communication and interaction with the minority community.
Thank you.
Candidate Jones, the last 3 years under Sheriff Staly's leadership have seen a 47% reduction in crime, as you mentioned. To what do you attribute this trend, and what will you do to ensure that it continues?
Thank you. I will continue what he has done, and also I will implement programs into the facility. As in the jail, I would make contact with the entrepreneurs and have them to come in and talk with the inmates and tell them how they got started with their business and offer them a job. And once they get out of jail, they'll have a job, and that'll solve that problem of revolving door. They keep coming back and repeat. So that's one of the main problems we can solve doing that in the community. And also, I would go in there and have the ministers come in and speak to the inmates and let them know that there's a better solution than committing crimes out there. You know, there's a higher power to help them out. And hopefully that we can say one, he can go out and tell someone else and stop the revolving door that we have in Flagler County.
Candidate Staly, what are your views on the perception of increased police brutality across the country and its impact on the officers of this community?
Well, I think that's absolutely atrocious for what we are seeing across the country and some of the brutality that has occurred. It's criminal, and where I've seen this occur the most is in agencies that have not modernized, have not been accredited, have not followed good practice in policing. The individual that murdered George Floyd had 19 prior critical incidents. He should have been fired a long time ago. Probably never should have been hired. In our agency, when 8 Can't Wait came out, we'd already implemented that a couple years earlier. The new Florida Police Chiefs Association report that came out on what should be done for law enforcement, we'd already implemented that well over a year ago. We have a page that I put out on our website called Honor to Serve. And in there, it lists our policy. Anybody can see it. And in addition to that, we annually, because we're an accredited agency, we post our use of force, which, by the way, is down over 40% since I've been sheriff for the use of force. We also put out our reports on bias-based policing. So we are extremely transparent, and we should be the model. In fact, Dr. Nelson of BCU was quoted that we are the model for the country.
Thank you.
Candidate Jones, what measures will you take as sheriff to alleviate the homelessness problem in Flagler County?
That's good. I would tap into all the resources that are available. There is definitely some funding out there for the homeless. And at this point, nobody wants it in their backyard. So we need to look for a building to get them to work and build a building for them and let them stay there, because leaving them out there is not helping anyone in the community. So we need to get them there and get them situated and get them back on track, because someone is down on their luck today, they can be up tomorrow, and that's where we're at today. They're down on their luck, and I would like to know the reason why did someone walk away from family like that, because they do have family somewhere, and we need to contact with them and make a better life for them and get them a better place to live instead of where they are at now. And as your sheriff, I would take the vote and lead to address the homeless problem in Flagler County.
Thank you.
Candidate Staly, what are the goals of the Flagler County Sheriff's Department to reduce recidivism? And has the STRIDE program met its goal?
So I implemented the STRIDE program in 2017. The STRIDE program, for the listeners that may not be aware of it, it is an inmate rehabilitation education program that uses community partners to provide GED education. It provides anger management. It provides Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, some faith-based education, and the list goes on. Since we have started that program, one of our partners is Workforce. 40 inmates have been hired by various employers in Flagler County, usually in the landscaping or other trades and construction, but we have a great partnership with that. We currently have applied for 2 other grants, and we're waiting to see if we receive them for over $1 million, which will take it to the next level. So I think we've done a good job. People have to want to change their life, but we give them the tools to do that for those that are willing to take that program.
Thank you.
Candidate Jones, in your Flagler Live interview, you mentioned 3 things you'd prioritize as sheriff: bridging the gap with the community, connecting with senior citizens, and getting youth involved in activities outside of school. How will you budget for these items in terms of both finances and deputies' time?
Well, I will have them to do this while they're on the clock. Their 12-hour shift, they will be out involved in the community. At the ballpark, at the park, I would like the deputies get out and communicate with everyone at the park, not just drive by with the windows up and doesn't say anything. You're not going to solve any problem that way. So we got to connect, bridge that gap between law enforcement and the community by engaging in the community. So that's what main thing that we have to do. And also, I would make sure they know all the homeless people that are around. Make contact with the homeless people and find out where they're from. Find out where their family. Contact their family and see what we can do to help them out. Because it's a shame that's what's going on, and nobody's trying to address it. So I would take the lead and address some of these problems and bridge that gap between law enforcement and the community, because the community is crying out. And they're crying out saying, the only time we see law enforcement is when they're here to arrest someone. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be able to stand by and see Officer Friendly come down and say, hey, Officer Friendly, how are you doing? And be able to communicate with them. But at this point, we can't do that because they are afraid. They are afraid of law enforcement at this point. So we got to get back involved and bridge that gap and get the community involved in law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to closing statements, I want to let everyone know you're listening to WNZF News Talk Radio, 1550 AM and 94.9 FM, Bunnell, Florida. It's 7 o'clock, so we're extending beyond our time. So we will begin with closing statements. Sheriff.
When voting for sheriff, you need an educated, proven, and experienced leader ready for anything. I've led this community in the sheriff's office through 3 hurricanes and a pandemic, and we still reduce crime by 47%. I'm the only candidate for sheriff that has an associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree, that graduated from the FBI National Academy, certified in Homeland Security, that holds a valid Florida law enforcement certification. I've managed budgets in the private and public sector up to $120 million and led over 2,000 employees. I have 35 years of leadership and command experience in law enforcement. I have a proven track record as your sheriff. I delivered on the promises I made in 2016. I ask you to keep me your sheriff. In the general election, whether by mail, in person during early voting, or on November 3rd in person, I ask you to keep me, Rick Staly, your sheriff. Visit rickstaly.com to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank the Tiger Bay and everyone for taking the time out on their busy day to come out and listen to what we have to say about. But this race is not about education or who has the most money. This race is about who's going to do the right thing for the community. And Larry Jones is the guy who's going to do the right thing for the community. Larry has a heart and compassion for people, and I will do the right thing. So on November 3rd, vote Larry Jones if you want to see a change in Flagler County. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our sheriff candidate forum. It also includes our first day. So in closing, I want to thank you all who, not the ones here, but those on the radio, those on YouTube, those who are on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our goal is that this is helpful to you in deciding your vote. Thank you to our panelists, who I introduced earlier, and their great questions. A special thank you to our candidate facilitator, Ed Fuller, and our timekeeper, Jake Scully, and also to the board members for their invaluable support in voting that we would support and do this. And another big thank you to the Tiger Bay members who sponsored this forum: Chimento Dwyer, Hertel Grant, Douglas Property and Development, Innovative Financial Solutions, S.E. Klein, and Waste Pro. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place. Please be safe. Thank you.